Fit10 Nation, welcome to day 19. And Martina, we are well into week 3 now. And almost at the 1/3 point, if you can believe that. Already almost the 1/3 point, still a lot to go, obviously. And we want to remind you that the name of the game in this is not to give up. You got to keep going. You've got to keep going like anything in life, as cheesy as it sounds. But believe me, I heard it my whole life, but I never really truly was able to appreciate that until maybe, I don't know, a couple years ago, to be honest with you. Yeah, and maybe that's just wisdom of life. All right, let's get into some topics here. There was a question from last week, and it was regarding sleep and recovery. And the question was, is sleep necessary for recovery, for sore muscles and muscular growth and fat loss? So we can cover all those topics with recovery. Martina, what do you have to say about that?
Essential.
Yeah, it's essential. It is actually the time where, whether we're talking about muscular recovery or fat burning, at least the majority of that's going to happen during that time. So if you are somebody who is always thinking that, they'll sleep when they're dead, I've heard that one before from somebody a long time ago, actually. I don't hear that one anymore from you. That's good.
I can't sleep enough.
Yeah. You need to make sure that you prioritize your sleep, which usually means going to bed earlier. More often than not, people just go to bed late and they got to get up because they got, they've got a job or they've got various responsibilities. So just get to bed earlier. Focus on getting at least bare minimum 7 hours of sleep a night. 7 hours of high quality sleep. Okay? Anything else you want to add to that?
I go to bed early.
Go to bed early. Well, I already said that, so we're not really adding anything.
It's adding.
All right. I guess you did add something, but okay. All right, listen, I did a video, Martina. I did a shorts video, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it was related to coconut oil and raising the metabolic rate. And this whole idea behind coconut oil and helping you to lose weight. So if you haven't seen it, you can find it in the shorts. But this question is related because somebody wrote me in response to that video and asked me, is it true that celery requires more energy than what it contains to digest it? No, that is a myth. That is basically saying that the thermic effect of celery is over 100%. And that's just not the case. The food that has the highest thermic effect is going to be whole protein. So things like, your protein strong. Yeah, beef and chicken and fish. That's going to have the highest thermic effect. I don't think, and this, to be honest with you, Martina, and our audience, of course, is something I'd have to delve into more, but I don't think protein powder is going to have the same kind of thermic effect.
No, I agree. As whole protein.
As whole proteins. So when it comes to celery, no, so if you're eating, a couple sticks of celery and that's, let's say 20 calories. I mean, celery is calorie sparse, as are most vegetables. You're going to probably expend, in order to digest that, it is quite fibrous, so there is some play in there, but you're probably going to expend, 3 to 5 calories to digest that. Okay? Actually, probably less than that.
I'm thinking too.
Probably less, yeah. So not very much. But not a bad thing to eat because it is, again, voluminous and there's hardly any calories in it. So,
I hate celery.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's great if you put on like peanut butter and
inside soup.
And yeah. Oh, and soups are great. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Martina, I know this was a pet peeve of yours, fitting food into your macros. So this is something that we're seeing with some of the journals that are sent in to us. So for anybody who doesn't know, in our challenge, we have you send in your eating journals every single day, in addition to your macro amounts that you've eaten. So what are you seeing, Martina?
We should always be filling out our journals the day before, giving you the opportunity to kind of play with the food and then have, the right amount we're asking for within 10% of your protein, your fats, and your carbs as per recommendation. But what I've seen is a lot of people feel like myself, unfortunately, I've fallen behind and I fill my journals now in the middle of the day. So I've eaten a certain amount of food during the day, And but I am, well aware of the fact that I don't want to go over those 10%, and therefore sometimes in the afternoon I will put what I ate already and then make what is left of my macros or my food fits within the macros that were given to me. But I find out that a lot of people actually have a really hard time doing that, and to my surprise, they're always off by 15-20% from what's recommended, almost like they don't really quite understand how to make the food fit the macros rather than the macros fit the food. I don't know. Okay, please show the page.
Yes, I'm going to remind you guys, you need to look at, in your manual, okay, pages 19. So we've got a little chart here. Again, these are showing foods that are primarily protein dominant or carbohydrate dominant or fat dominant.
Yeah.
So if you're short, resort to this. So perfect example of a protein strong food that's very low in carbs and fat. Chicken, a white fish, pretty much any white fish, most white fish. A good quality protein powder.
Okay. Can I cut you off?
Greek yogurt, yeah.
Yeah, so you're right about picking the sources, but this is what I'm thinking is happening, okay? So you are going to eat with your family. Maybe you made the food, or maybe you did not. Maybe you have the recipe, maybe you do not have the recipe. And so what happens is that if you write, for example, let's say a chili, let's say chicken chili in there, because of the high prevalence of carbohydrates and fat and protein, then you won't be able to fit that within your macros, right? And that's where, so yes, you can have a little bit of that provided that you have the breakdown of the macronutrients, but you also have to reserve like a couple hundred calories where you're going to be playing out what's going on. If you're short, for example, in protein, egg whites we talked about, and those lean meats we mentioned would work really well. So add that to your meal, for example, or let's say lean turkey slices that you made yourself, or even beef jerky. If you're short in fat, you can have a little bit of nuts. Nuts come with carbohydrates, but you could have added oil to your food, or you could have avocado, on the side of your chili. If you're missing the carbs, which is usually one of my issues, then, carb-laden food, like I love potatoes at the end of the day are doing really well for me. Some breads, I'd rather not finish my day with bread, but sometimes I do that, right? And then so that's what you have to do. You can't just be like, okay, I'm gonna go and have dinner with my family and then be like, okay, I'm gonna have like 2 cups of chili plus bread plus whatever I have, sour cream plus I don't know what, then put it in your food log and be off the chart completely.
Yeah, so you need to watch these numbers as you go through the day. Well, again, we're kind of going off of what we recommend, which is
before the day. But
pre-planning.
Hold on a second, sorry for interrupting. But even those people that actually write their food the day before, then on the day off end up going over.
Well, you know what? So again, this might just be a learning thing.
I know.
So we don't expect perfection. I mean, perfection is great, but obviously we want you to look at the aspects that you're struggling with and then work on improving those. And that is obviously the goal as we go through the challenges to improve on these areas.
So congratulations, but do better.
Yeah, but again, it's very, very simple. I mean, Martine, when I'm going through my day sometimes, and I don't eat the exact same things every day, but you've heard me many times. It could be whatever. It's later in the day, and if it's a non-training day for me, I do a lower carb day on my non-training days. And you hear me. You'll say, "Oh, you know what? I'm done. I can't afford any more carbs for the day." And so I just don't have any more carbs for the day. That's the rest of my calories going to come from fat and protein. So, it's just part of this program is becoming familiar with what foods contain what, and this is essentially going to arm you for the rest of your life to make better decisions and have a much better understanding in terms of what you're doing. This program is all about teaching you, okay? Yeah, we're going to make some good progress. Yes, we're going for that 30% fat mass loss, but most importantly, it's arming you with the right information so that when you leave the challenge, you have a much better understanding of food and what to do, right? All right, message of the day. Do or do not.
There's no try.
There's no try. Do or do not. There is no try.
By Yoda.
That's by Yoda, apparently. Okay. It just simply means, listen, if you can't do everything right now, and again, that would be a decision that you've made.
It's okay.
That's okay. But don't just not commit to anything. Commit to something. Say I'm going to do whatever it is. I'm going to get 70% of my protein for the day. You need to commit to something. If you do not commit to something, then
You get nothing.
Then you have, the option is endless to do. I mean, basically, anything you do, any little bit that you do is a win, which I guess, in some cases that's a great message. But at the end of the day, we've got to push ourselves to do better, right? So we need to be accountable to not just Coach Martina and myself, but also to yourself. You've got to give yourself some goals to shoot towards.
Absolutely.
So if you've decided that, no, I'm not going to do all of this, then at the very least, tell us what you're going to do, and
stick
then
to it.
and commit to that, and then build on that, right? Anything else you want to add? Okay, positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude. We'll talk to you all very soon.